Orlando, what's happening? How you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Doing great. Thanks for joining me here today. Excited to get to know you a little bit more, talk a little bit more about your band. You guys got some pretty unique background here that we're going to tap into in just a second. But yeah, appreciate you a ton for joining me here today. Um, right off the bat, one of the things that kind of, I don't know, it sounded like I don't know, one of those things you throw out in left field and you happen to catch it. I guess from my background being over here in the Idaho region, right? Big into the outdoors, fishing. And I think of this as like throwing your line out there in the river, and all of a sudden you come back and you hit a big old sturgeon. And it kind of reminds me of what happened when you threw out a Craigslist ad. It sounds like, right, when all
Yeah,
this kind of stuff started. Um, share that story with me if you could, because that's not. I don't know. I haven't heard that before.
sure. I was down in Illinois. I like bouncing around. Kind of get stir crazy. I like to move. And at that time, I had moved down to a goat farm that my uncle owns, just to kind of get out of the city, focus on songwriting,
Yeah.
without like distractions and a social life, getting in the way. And so I started a band down there, started songwriting, started playing in Chicago for a couple of years. Eventually built a band down there, and when you're booking for a year out. A lot of times.
Hmm.
Uh, and I had lost a job. I was out in Chicago gigging, and I had to be at work the next day at 6 a.m. And I just didn't make it that day. And we'll just say that was the last time that happened for them. So I
Yeah.
lost that job. I've been there for a few years, and I was kind of missing Milwaukee. It was kind of growing while I was gone. New venues were coming up, and breweries that all wanted music and stuff like that. So every time I'd come and visit friends, it was just getting cooler, and so it was kind of just a perfect opportunity to come back. But I had, a year's worth of shows booked, and
Hmm.
so and some of them, you're booking a full band. So I moved back sort of abruptly, and the only thing I could really do is hit up Craigslist. Went to the musician kind of ads. I put up an ad of my own, shared some songs, and it wasn't that painful. Like I think a lot of the guys in the first reply were the ones that ended up being in the band.
Oh, really?
Yeah, maybe there was just like a couple that kind of weren't a great fit, but yeah, it ended up working out. A lot of those guys in the first iteration of the band, that the band's turned over since then.
Hmm.
With COVID and all that, we were kind of on a break and sort of rebuilt the band. But
Hmm.
yeah, it worked out great. A lot of those guys had been moving back to Milwaukee at the same time, so they were
Hmm.
all they had known the place, but were gone. Whether our violin player was backpacking the West Coast for like 10 years until he
Hmm.
finally decided to settle down. So like everybody was kind of coming back at the same time, so it sort of worked for us. But yeah, no
Yeah.
one got murdered. It was a good time.
So it was a good day. Yeah. Yeah. So you went from being this, bandless songwriter to then leading a group, compiling a group that went on to, get some pretty neat accolades, folk band of the year, right? Um, WAMI nomination, new artist of the year. I mean, there's a laundry list of some things that you guys ended up acquiring along the path here. What would you say was like some of the pivotal moments or things that happened that turned things around for you? From going from again solo to establishing this group, and you guys actually doing something and being on the same rhythm about where you're going.
Sure. Yeah. In the beginning there, I guess like a good thing about Milwaukee as opposed to when I was gigging in Chicago. Chicago obviously is so big. There's so much music. It's really competitive. And it seemed kind of like tougher to build a community in Chicago. So it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
something I was longing for. Or maybe they just wouldn't let me in. I don't know. But kind of when I got to Milwaukee, it was the total opposite. People hear about you and you're new, so that's exciting to them. Who is this new artist in our community? People want to meet you. So I was getting show offers left and right, and as long as you keep playing well, it just kind of keeps going well for you. And so
Mm-hmm.
we just kind of rode that wave since. That first like new artist of the year nomination and folk band, that was all in, I think it was 2019, right after that first EP, or beginning of 2020, and we were just like, oh, this is unbelievable. We'd got an
Yeah.
offer to play Summerfest for the first time, which Summerfest is like our huge music festival, one of the biggest in the world.
Okay.
And so we thought things were going to happen, and then like 2 weeks later we got locked down, in like
Mm,
middle March or whatever.
yeah.
So that was kind of a bummer. But again, it gave us time to kind of focus what we wanted to do. I had some musicians that I'd met over the year or so playing here that were interested in being in the band, and kind of I liked their styles, and So we kind of reshaped the band there, and with more focus, with like-minded people, and pretty much since then we haven't looked back. We actually just won folk band of the year again, like
Nice.
2025.
Congratulations.
Thanks, we're super excited.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's cool. I want to dive back in a little bit into this. I don't know if you want to call it a transitionary moment, if you would, from you know National Sessions EP to leading into Young Naive, right? Like, how did that window of kind of turmoil, right? Because you had like some beginnings of something that's building up and momentum, and then you get punched in the face, having to take a little bit of a curbside along with everybody else on the planet. But I'm sure there were some things that you picked up along the way, whether it was learning lessons from the chemistry of the band, um, to other things that you picked up that led you into Young Naive. Like, what? Talk to me about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously the first that first iteration of the band, there was a lot of stuff going on. It was a lot of the guys, like, they didn't necessarily want to be in a band that is trying to make it. They were just doing it for
Mm,
fun. And so
yeah.
as demanding and we were gigging more, they started to resent it. And so that's sort of where, like, initial whatever just started.
Hmm.
Um, to me, it's just supposed to be all fun. It's
Uh-huh.
If it's not fun, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
I mean, I would write either way, but yeah. So kind of that was the one small blessing during, like, the band breaking up during quarantine, because we had no choice, was to sort of like, all right, find out who really wants to be here, find out
Mm,
what I really want to do with this. Now that we've noticed we can get some kind of traction, there's some potential here.
yeah.
What do I want to do? And again, I had these guys, a few different musicians from town that I had played with their other bands or whatever, that had reached out, that were really talented, and I really admired them. And I just thought, okay, this is a chance for it to go 2.0.
Hmm.
Um, and so that was what we did. And there's a song actually on the album. It's called "Looking Ahead," that actually sort of references everything that went on at that time and what was going on. It's pretty cryptic, obviously. You won't really be able to, it's not like I'm just, telling you exactly what happened. That
Yeah.
song directly talks about that experience and just wanting to move forward.
Okay, I got you. So let's dive into some of these themes then that you have with some of these tracks, because when I was digging a little bit into this, um, one of the things that kind of came up, especially on this track "Good Days," um, I don't know, maybe I deciphered it incorrectly, if especially if you're cryptically writing about things here, but I was kind of picking up more about mental health was something that you
Yeah.
were kind of tapping into. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's all metaphors. It's for, like, a house that's kind of crumbling around you, but
Uh huh.
it's your own mind. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Yeah. So when you're diving into these themes with your tracks, like, unpack the process of how you're constructing these things. Are these things that you're experiencing personally, or is it part of a collective that you're gathering with the people that you're playing with, or where are you gathering this information from?
Yeah, it's all my songs are deeply personal. Every now and then I'll write a story, observing someone else, but as all the writers have always said, Hemingway has always said, write about what you know, and what I know
Mm,
best is in my own mind.
yeah.
Uh, I've always struggled with mental health, depression, things like that my whole life.
Mm,
Writing has actually always been a really useful tool for me to kind of sit with my problems and see things from different angles and kind of work my way through stuff.
yeah.
And so Good Days is kind of about that. I was literally living in a just rundown, shitty apartment, not thinking much of myself when I moved back, kind of just going through a time. And even at that, it's like, you can sit here, you can make excuses for yourself. You're worthless. You're not worth anything, blah, blah, blah. Look at everything around you that, is also crumbling. That's what you deserve. Or you can make a change, and go
Yeah.
create the life you want. And
Yeah.
so it was just kind of that point for me. It's like, what? Enough's enough.
Yeah. No, it reminds me of this other track as well that I was peeking into, called "Too Proud and Chasing." Was it Chasing Straits? Right? Too
Yeah,
proud,
yeah,
too
yeah.
proud, too proud and chasing straights, and you pursuing this dream, or you pursuing this avenue that sometimes we have things aspiring in our lives that we don't always hit the nail on the head, especially in the timetable that we want. And you have that crossroads decision to make, right? Whether or not you continue fighting forward, or whether you tap out and, you know, feel sorry for yourself type of thing. And
Yeah.
was I picking up on that too with that particular track?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, too proud is very much like, am I too proud for wanting to keep peddling this career along or whatever I'm doing here,
Hmm.
or am I not? Am I not crazy? Am I
Yeah,
onto something? And
yeah.
Chasing Straits is kind of, I wrote those songs years apart, but they're sort of about the same thing. That was when I first moved to the goat farm and sort of decided to go all in with songwriting.
Hmm.
So it's like chasing, like when you're gambling, if you're chasing it straight, but like you're only on the flop. It's like, well, this could go so many different ways. Like that's not the smartest gamble, but so I saw it that way. It's like, it's a sort of reference, right? Gambling with your life
Hmm.
choices to potentially maybe, live a life full of happiness and songs.
Yeah. What would you say is the most? Because you said all these songs are kind of deeply personal to you, right? Like, but is there one that really hits home closest more than others that you've hit? That's like, man, this is yeah,
Yeah.
this is just the hardest hitting.
For that release, I think the songs that I'm most proud of are probably Caged Bird and Looking Ahead. Looking Ahead, just lyrically, it's super personal, and I love the guitar part. It's not in like a standard time signature,
Hmm.
and so it was just created its own like troubles in the studio and when writing. But now that everybody loves it, we love it. It's just a
Hmm.
unique groove. And then the other one is probably Cage Bird. It's the softest song on it. It's just a song that I'm like lyrically very proud of writing. It's me being really honest with myself for the first time and kind of looking back at my life since like high school and kind of how things really take off and life really flies by once you're so focused on your next move or growing up or whatever. And so it was just kind of me looking back at how I got here, big steps, maybe embarrassing things that I sort of blocked out of my memory for some time, and wanting to look at all those things, the good and the bad, and just kind of owning it.
Yeah, yeah, I get that. The the question I always like to ask people, especially that you're tapping into some audiences maybe that never heard your music before, and from what I was gathering on some people that review your music, or critics of music, etc., they would maybe describe it as melodious soul roots rock, but there's other signatures of Americana. Like, what would you call your music, if anything?
It's tough. We're the ones that came up with soul folk because we
Oh,
thought
really?
it was like encompassing of it's yeah anybody they give us a different opinion of what they think it is. That we all like so much different music. My drummer and I are both huge metalheads. Like it's like, so half the time it feels like we're actually trying to like slow down and soften the songs.
Uh-huh.
Um, it's we call it soul folk. We love that Motown soul. A lot of the newer
Hmm.
stuff is kind of going in that direction, but then we also love folk singer songwriter storytelling. And
Hmm.
so and that Motown really did encompass a lot of that roots music as well. The
Hmm.
blues, the country.
Yeah.
We don't know, man. We like all kinds of stuff. We also love emo music. I grew up as a Midwest emo kid. So
Uh-huh.
there's like little bits of that kind of are streaked through it all. It's a weird blend. We know.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I mean, whatever makes it so you can communicate the messages you're trying to get across, and the people that are supposed to hear it are gonna hear it, right? That's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. For a live performance type set, like, what would you describe your, I don't want to say stereotypical, but like, what would you describe as, like, when you guys show up for a live performance set, like you've done in the past with some of these larger festivals and whatnot? What would you describe that experience looking like for somebody that's never heard you guys before?
Oh, we love it. We thrive off the live. We record the whole band live for our albums. Young and Naive was recorded live. We just turn each other on while we're playing more, set the guy
Yeah,
off yeah. It just feels cold kind of when we're recording without each other there. We like to play
yeah,
off each other.
yeah.
Our mentality when we're going into a show is like all gas, no brakes. We don't care where in the set we are. We're gonna
Mm-hmm.
light it up, you know? Yeah,
Yeah,
we have fun. We might extend all the songs by a few extra minutes each, and
uh-huh.
we just like to have a good time.
Yeah, I hear you. This this other news that we had briefly mentioned here with a significant milestone, with you guys signing with Spectrum Music Group in just recently, right? Hasn't been that long. What unpack that? Like, how did that partnership come about, and how is that, you know, benefiting you, and how are you leveraging that relationship in order to, further what you guys are doing?
Yeah, so we actually through it was just submitting, and they reviewed our stuff, got back to us. I thought it was spam for like the first 2 weeks. Like,
Uh-huh.
I don't know. You get something like that, and you're like, this can't be real, you know.
Uh-huh.
But we talked to them. They really liked what they had heard. We obviously didn't have the album yet or anything, so they were listening to the old EP,
Mm,
which was pretty old by that point. You know, it was from 2019. We were a totally different band at this point.
mm,
But they had liked what they heard. They wanted to know more about what our plans were going forward, where new music was. And we had actually already recorded. We had recorded 4 songs. Now that I remember it, and so we showed them those, and they're like, "Well, yeah, this is great. You should do a full album." And so we had to book more time, which our studio was really booked out, so we had to wait a long time. But yeah, it just seemed like a good fit. What they were offering to us and where we were at the time, and they've been great. They've been helping us with it, get eyes on it that we otherwise wouldn't be able to. Some publications as well. So it's nice just to have somebody in our corner helping us kind of spread the gospel. You know,
yeah, yeah,
uh, we signed with New Age Media Management a few months back too, and that's been exciting. We're talking with them on a weekly basis. They're helping us strategize our next year and look for bigger fish kind of things
yeah,
as well.
yeah. Well, let's keep rolling with that right there, because I think some people that are listening are going to be able to, tap into what it is that you've been able to experience up to this point that maybe others haven't, when it comes to building relationships and finding the right strategic partners that can help you go to that next stage. And it sounds like you're kind of being really intentional about, what kind of partnerships you can develop in order to take it to that next step. Um, is there any secret sauce there, or is it just keeping your eyes open? Like, what would you say?
Yeah, be relentless when you're researching and applying. Well, know what you want, and you got to understand if you're ready. I think every
Mm,
band thinks like I need a manager right now. It's like, well, you don't have one song yet. Like you just
yeah.
created a Facebook page, like things like that. And doing this for I don't know 12 years now, trying to chase it. And me in the beginning too is like, I need a manager, I need a booking team, right? Otherwise, it's not gonna. It's like, well, your songs suck, like,
Yeah.
you know, like no one's
Yeah.
gonna work with you because you're terrible. Like you just bought a guitar for the first time, like
Uh-huh.
dreaming big.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, I've been trying. I've been applying for years to stuff like that, and it's not a chance in the world. I was so bad, when I first started, but you're naive, you're young and naive, and you're
Mm,
just kind of blissful in your ignorance and just shooting for the moon.
yeah.
So I applied to these things, and I think honestly it's the album. The finally we were putting out a strong product. Like in the past with our EP and stuff, it was some issues with recording where like the quality of the recordings themselves weren't great. My voice has changed a lot. We actually pulled down all those old EPs and singles
Mm,
from all of our streaming per management's request
mm-hmm.
over the last week because it was a different lineup and it just doesn't represent the sound anymore.
Mm,
But yeah, just waiting, being relentless, don't give up. You're going to hear no a million times, or if you get a response at all.
mm-hmm.
Just I don't know if you want something, you just gotta like. I can get pretty like obsessive about the things I want, and
Sure.
I'm highly competitive.
Uh-huh.
So I kind of just use that to fuel me. I see what other artists around my level are doing or who they're talking with, and I go research. And with these guys, that's we kind of vetted them as a band. We talked about it. Are we ready for this? Is this something we need? Are we foolish to pass it up? And after talking with Adam, our manager, we're just kind of kindred spirits. We get along. He's just a little bit older than me, but he kind of grew up on the management side of the music industry where I kind of wanted to perform, and very similar backgrounds, music taste wise and things like that. Coming up in the same scene. So he understands us. And we like what they're doing, what they stand for there. And it was just a good fit.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. I'm stoked for you guys. That's cool.
Thank you.
Excited to see where it goes. Speaking of young and naive, I don't think we really tapped into that a little bit, but you mentioned it just a second ago about people being young and naive. Like, why did you choose that as the album's title track, and like, what's the overarching themes behind that?
Yeah. as we were looking at songs, we had, I don't know what it was, maybe like 40 songs or something, and we were trying to find a theme through. It was just anything and everything we've played and been gigging live and we like or whatever. And we were kind of looking through, and as I was going through, I know the lyrics obviously a lot faster than anyone else. And I was starting to see themes through some of these songs of like, oh, a lot of these songs are about kind of just the learning process, growing pains,
Right.
coming up, like the salad days, if you will. Uh, yeah, and so that was kind of, I was like, well, yeah. And then I think Young and Naive wasn't even written yet. And that was kind of written to sort of cap it off. It's like, okay, here's that
Mhm.
overarching theme of all these songs. It's like, it's kind of that. It's like that initial pursuit of something,
Yeah.
you're young, you don't know what to expect. It's all exciting. And that's kind of how that feels you to keep going and keep searching for more, driving
Hmm.
farther out. And yeah, it's just kind of like the fun part of the journey.
Yeah, that's awesome. So started out young and naive, now a little bit more wisdom, hopefully, right? And
Well, hopefully, man.
yeah, well, and some people to help you along the way too. You got, some management that's hopping in the driver's seat here as well, and backing by a supportive group that's helping you get the quality music out that you need here. What else is on the horizon for you guys in the near future here? What are you working on that
Yes.
we can leak?
So we just got out of the studio, I think 2 weeks ago for the next album. Well, we're not sure. So we've been talking with another label for the next release, which is, can't say anything. Never mind. All right.
Sure.
It's a very exciting label. It is a good step for us. And we've been talking with them for a while too. They heard the album. We just said we weren't ready to record anything new yet. We need to give this album its cycle. But they were willing to wait. We finally felt ready to start recording. So we laid down the first half of songs. We're going to go back in February to do more and figure out what kind of a release we want to do. We're going to show them these songs and try to come up with a strategy. Do we want to release singles? Do we want to do an EP, another
Mhm.
full length album? I don't know. We're super excited. I'm obviously excited just to get back into gigging season 2. Kind
Mhm.
of when spring rolls around, let's just start getting back out there again. Right now, it's just like sustained by like 1 or 2 gigs throughout the
Mhm.
winter months, but it's
Yeah.
not enough. So
Yeah. Enduring until the season comes, huh?
yeah, well,
I,
it's writing
I
and recording time.
yeah.
It's kind of the flow of things.
Yep, exactly. No, I get it. That's
Yeah.
cool. Well, Orlando, this has been phenomenal. Getting a chance to get to know you a little bit and hear more about you. Where can people check you out and find you if they're listening to this?
Yeah, you guys can listen to our album Young Naive wherever you get your music. Just ask Siri, Alexa. It's on Spotify's, iTunes, YouTube's, all that stuff. You can go to our website, themidnightpurchase.com. We just got a brand new merch store. Christmas is not here yet. We got show dates up there as well, some news. If you want to follow on social media, Facebook and Instagram, you can follow at the Midnight.
That's what's up. The Midnight Purchase. Orlando, thank you so much, brother. It's been a pleasure, bro.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been fun.